Blog Talk Radio.
Looking for a girlfriend. Girl, I'm looking for a friend first. I know that we could jump in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Scandalous of Dating a Gemini Man. This is part 2, and myself, Apollonia, a.k.a. the Astrology Lady, as well as April, a.k.a. Pisces Moon Goddess. We are back by popular demand that this is going to be part 2, but part 1, a lot of people really enjoyed that show, and Gemini men get a get a bad rep sometimes, but we're attempting to dissect them so that if you are compatible with Gemini men, or if you must date them, everyone has to be dateable. But if you are going to be intertwined with a Gemini man, it is best that you kind of know before you go, or know all of the aspects to this particular type of guy before you invest all your energy. And we do that for every single sign. We're going through the zodiac, so it's not just like we're harping on Gemini men. This just happens to be a part 2 because we had some more things that we wanted to cover. So did you want to say what's up to the world, April, before we get started?
Of course. What's up, everybody? I'm April, and yeah, part 2. We're doing part 2. You know, Gemini as a sign is one of the signs that rules entertainment, and they are a pretty entertaining bunch, to say the least. As far as the men, I mean the women too, but we're covering men right now as far as dating. So I think that's why, you know, I got like DMs on Instagram. We got at our email questions at thecosmiccouncil.com. We got emails. And I had friends that were like, oh my gosh, you know, remember such and such that I dated, and you know, oh my gosh, yeah. We just got such a positive response, and you know, we had so much more stories that were shared with us that people would like us to share. We would like to give the opportunity to have people call in and us be able to take their calls tonight. That's why we're doing a 2-hour show tonight as part 2, to make sure that we get to all the callers. We want to hear all of your entertaining stories, good, bad, or scandalous, about Gemini men. Even our Cosmic Council brethren, Gemini Brown, who is a Gemini man, says that Gemini is the most hated sign. And if you look at memes on social media about the zodiac sign, Gemini is usually like ripped the most, like you know, just really made fun of, and you know, but Gemini tends to have a great sense of humor, which is one of the most lovable qualities about them. So a lot of them don't mind that. So yeah, I think that's why this show, doing a part 2, was something that we had to do, because they're one of the most talked about signs, whether good, bad, or scandalous, so we just had to. So I really hope you guys call in. Our call-in number is 424-243-9659. And yeah, this is a 2-hour show, so just give us a call or email us. Go in our chat room. We have a chat room always for every live broadcast. Get the chat room popping, share some stories, instant message us on our social medias if you have anything to say or share, comment on our Instagram, anything. We just really want to be interactive with you guys tonight and share more Gemini man stories. So that's pretty much it.
Definitely. And I should have added that to the flyer. Comment in our comment section on Instagram. If you happen to see a flyer and you're here, you know, we really want to hear the stories that a lot of women have had, or experiences that a lot of women have had dealing with Gemini men.
Okay, I wanted to add also, as with the last show and with every show, just a reminder that when we're talking about Gemini men, we're not just talking about men who were born in May or June. We're talking about men who were born when the moon was in Gemini, or their rising sign is Gemini, or maybe they have, another personal planet, Venus, Mars, and or Mercury in Gemini, or they have Mercury in their first house, maybe even Mercury conjunct the Sun, can give a little Gemini quality, or if they have planets in the the third house of their chart, like Sun, Moon, Rising. Geez Louise, look at this Mercury. Mercury is in shadow right now, so it's like already its retrograde madness. Speaking of Gemini, if you have any personal planets in the third house, if a man does, that makes them have these Gemini-like qualities and behaviors displayed. So I just wanted to give that reminder out that it's not just the sun sign of Gemini we're talking about here.
Yes, definitely. Pull your spouse's entire chart, even if they don't happen to have any Gemini energy. Pull your entire chart just so that you are aware of the components that they're working with. They may have, say if you're dating a Gemini guy, but he may have a Leo stellium chart. He may give off a lot more Leo energy or qualities opposed to Gemini. So, yeah, definitely pay attention to that. And I'm not forgetting anything. What are we missing?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a celebrity Gemini, or if you want to call him a celebrity. He's a reality show star, and I wanted to talk about him a little bit first before we jump into our stories and experiences, because a lot of people might know this or know this particular story. So April doesn't watch a lot of reality TV. She's scant with it, but I happen to follow sometimes. I'm not going to say I catch every episode because they can get a little bit too ratchet for myself even. But Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is in season at the time, or at the moment. And two characters on there happen to be Geminis. And if you know who I'm referring to, it's Rashida and Kirk. And there's a big scandal playing out on the show that turned out to be very true. It had already broke into the media or into the blogs that Kirk had a baby on Rashida prior to the show even airing. And now we're just happening to see the backstory of it all because, they record in advance and blah, blah, blah. So when I was watching the show last weekend, I said to myself, Kirk is acting like a fucking Gemini. I literally said that in my mind. So I Googled him, and of course, he's a Gemini, May the 25th, 1969. Now, here are some of the clues that gave away the fact that Kirk is a Gemini. For number one, he's much older than Rashida, and everyone talks about or makes jokes about his age, but he acts very young. He's always doing shit that young guys will do. He tries to dress very young. He tries to appear or act very youthful. So that's a common Gemini trait or theme. A lot of Gemini men and women, they look a lot younger, and if they don't look a lot younger, but usually they look very youthful. They dress a lot younger than their age, and they mingle and hang out in places with people younger than themselves. And a lot of times they can be embarrassed about telling their age. So whenever you hear women who say stuff like, oh, a woman never tells her age and stuff like that, usually there's some Mercury energy popping off in that person's chart because it's as if they have a phobia of people knowing how old they actually are. So that was the first clue that Kirk is old, but he tries to act young. The second clue is that whenever he has cheated on Rashida or had an ongoing affair on the side, he always has it in the style of a double life, meaning he goes and gets an additional apartment on the side, and he sets the other woman or the side woman up in this apartment or this place. The first time he did it, if you remember a season back, he set up an additional apartment saying that it's his business office. He has to do work that he can't do at home. So he goes to get another apartment, and he brings his artists, who are usually scantily clad females, and he brings them in the business office, which is actually another apartment, to do business with them. So now the same issue with this new girl that he's had an affair with and had a child with her. He set her up in an apartment and was taking care of her throughout her pregnancy. And after the baby came, he told her that he would just give her money, but he wasn't going to be able to keep fitting the bill for the apartment. Another thing, well, those were the two things, him living a double life and him acting very young. And then when he would come to talk to Rashida, he would always try to set the premises or set the tone, which is a thing that a lot of Gemini guys do. They kind of beat around the bush. Like, if they're up to no good and the shit is about to hit the fan really soon, they kind of try to set the tone or butter you up prior to whatever comes out. So, prime example, when Kirk found out that everybody had found out that he had had a baby on Rashida, he ran home to her first, and he tells her, look, is this some chick? She works at the strip club. She used to like me. I never really liked her like that. I maybe bought a dance or two from her, and maybe she thought it was more than what it was. But if you hear anything, I'm already telling you what possibly happened. And she's like, okay, well, long as nothing comes back, because you know how you act. So he was kind of like trying to set up the premises of him getting caught. So when it does come to her, in her mind, oh, that's the girl he was talking about, so maybe I shouldn't blow that out of proportion. He told me this was going to come. But in actuality, he was lying. So those were three things that pretty much gave Kirk away to me that he was a Gemini. And if you aren't following this show, you can check it out so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But he was exhibiting textbook Gemini traits, or dark-sided Gemini or scandalous Gemini male traits, so that you can kind of see it in action for yourself. So I just wanted to add that before we moved on. But, yeah, I guess we can. Oh, Rabina's going to call in, too, with her Gemini-esque tales. So
I can't wait.
Yeah. So if you want to get started with our stories, I guess by that time Rabina will be here. If you want to start with your particular Gemini male stories, I know I have a couple.
Yes. Actually, the one that you told right now is a really good segue into one that I'm going to tell, and this is for a friend of mine. She is a woman who is a Gemini rising. So she has some Gemini qualities. And she was with this man. Well, she's still with this man. They've been together for over a decade, off and on.
Wow.
And he has Mercury in Gemini. So his thinking and the way he speaks is very Gemini. And he has a lot of other mutable energy in his chart. Like, he's a Virgo rising, he has some Sagittarius stuff, and he has a Pisces moon. So he's very mutable. Mutable signs are very changeable. You don't always know what they're going to do next. They will go whatever way the wind blows. So, anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, he has Mercury in Gemini. So they have been together for years. They had a baby several years ago, and he said that he wanted to be with her, like, you know, get married and everything, and buy a house, and all these major steps they were taking towards really building a solid future. Well, anyway, long story short, she, after some snooping and investigating, found out that he was building them a house, you know, oh, you know, we're going to be such a big family in this big house, it's beautiful. Then she found out that he also had a secret apartment somewhere in this party area, like an area where, like, young people party and stuff. So there's that young acting stuff. And he's a Virgo rising, so Virgo can be very young acting as well, just like Gemini, because they're both ruled by Mercury. So he had a secret apartment, and she found out he had a secret girlfriend, and that's exactly why he got the apartment, was so he can take this girl there. Well, I guess she eventually caught up with the girl, confronted her, I think, on social media or something, and asked her questions. And she said that the guy, her man, was making himself out to be this big-time playboy and woman chaser, womanizer. And she was just thinking, like, did he really tell her that? Like, then she started to really think, like, who are you? Like, who is this man that I've been with for over 10 years? Like, I don't know him as being a womanizer. I know him as being a very faithful, loyal family man. Like, what, you know? So anyway, she eventually confronted him on it, and he admitted to everything, and they had a separation for a while, and it was really tough because I think she was either pregnant or just had their baby. It was really, really tough. Well, yeah, so there's that secret apartment thing, posting a woman up in an apartment, living a double life. Mm-hmm. He's a family man, and he's a womanizer. It's like, who are you? And his excuse and reason for everything was, now, you see, the reason why I did this was because I am serious about marrying you, and I had to, like, you know, like on Coming to America, they say he had to sow his royal oaths or something like that before he gets married, which means go out and be a thought before you commit to somebody and, you know, for life, pretty much. Yeah. So that's what he said he was doing that for. I'm so serious about you that I had to get this out of my system, girl. That's why I did it, because I want to be with you. And, you know, I was like, that is such BS. What are you going to do? But anyway, she wanted me to share her story to let everybody know that they are still together to this day. They have worked on their issues. It's taken some years to kind of let go and forgive and move on. But they both have some Saturn transits going on right now that are affecting them both relationship-wise. And Saturn energy can be either make or break. You know, it really tests you. So I guess they're passing the test, and he's growing up and maturing, and she's able to be willing to work on the relationship. So, you know, even if a Gemini man does this two-faced stuff, this double life stuff, there may be hope for some of them to actually grow up one day and let all of that crap go and just be solid family men. Some of them.
Yeah.
Of them. So there is hope.
agree. I agree that there can be potential for some of them, but same time, they have to find women that are willing to play this waiting game with them. Like, see, I don't, personally, this is what I have heard women say. Women say, oh, my God, girl, Gemini penis is the best penis I ever had in my whole life, so I'm just going to deal with all of his bullshit because that is just the best dick ever. Me, on the other hand, no. Like, I have literally heard so many women say that about Gemini men, that they are some of the best ever in bed. Probably because they're hoes, so they have tons of experience. So, yeah. With that being said, if you want to wait that out, if you want to be the old lady that is sitting in the corner and saying, yeah, I've been dealing with his shit for 45 years and we made it. But during that 45 years, how many times did you have to go and knock on a chick's door or go through his phone or, you know, all the unnecessary BS that comes with waiting for them to finish their hoeing phase? It's like, is it really worth it? So you have to really ask yourself that is, does the good outweigh the bad with whatever Gemini guy you're entertaining?
Yeah, showing up at chicks' doors. You know, that just made this memory flash in my head of Faith Evans. You know, Faith Evans was married to Biggie Smalls, who is a Gemini man. And she is putting out this album on, I think it's on his birthday this year, called The King and I, where she's doing like a kind of like a Natalie Cole did with her father. Even though he was passed away, she recorded some songs with his vocals. So she's doing that with Biggie. So she's on like a tour right now, you know, talking to different radio stations, and she's shared some more stories about their past. And yeah, if anybody knows the story of Biggie and Faith, like she always caught him in bed with other women, showed up at hotels where he was at, and other women were in the bed with him, and she had to chase some hookers off. I mean, and if you've seen the movie Notorious, there is a scene like that in there. And he was back and forth with her and Little Kim and Charlie Baltimore, like, you know, just flipping around like different women. Like,
shit? Who wants to deal with that?
But
if I have to chase you down for you to act right.
Yeah. She said on one of the last interviews, one of the most recent interviews, she even said that she thinks that they would have tried to work things out again had he still lived. And I'm like, really now? Like, I don't know what her chart looks like. I've never looked at Faith Evans' chart, but now I really want to see what in her chart would have made her want to even try again with somebody that she had to keep hunting down and finding with other women like that, you know? So she would have been one of those ones we just talked about.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think Faith had because I looked at her chart not too long ago also, because I watched her interview as well. Yeah, I pulled her chart, and I can tell you right now what her chart was, at least her sun, moon, and possible rising. Yeah, Faith is a Scorpio rising from what I observed. Libra moon. She's a Gemini sun, Libra moon. So that makes sense with her being a Scorpio rising and stalking her Gemini ex-husband or her deceased Gemini husband, because Scorpio women will try to force a Gemini man to act right. And that is what I have never really been able to figure out. It's like they try to force him into submission, and they make themselves tired just by trying to force him to get his shit together. So makes perfect sense to me with Faith being a Scorpio rising possibly. So
and she's a Gemini sun. Wow. She's a Gemini sun. Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So, and she's a Libra moon, so she's double air right there. So air can deal with the changeability and the, you know, back and forth stuff. So maybe that's why she said, oh, yeah, we would have tried again. You know, and then, yeah, her Scorpio rising is magnetically attracted to Geminis, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very true.
So, and you had some other stories, too? We could just go back and forth, you know, take turns.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, the first Gemini story I had was from a friend of mine as well. And this was years ago. And he actually, I was sharing this story with April. And when we talk about Gemini men and their fake crying spells and how they can really turn on the waterworks and get really theatrical. And as April mentioned in the beginning of the show, that Gemini is one of the signs that rules entertainment. So they really know how to turn on this act. But what's so bad about it they get caught in the act. A Leo can really fool your ass. Like, a Leo can totally get into character and act that shit out and role play, but a Gemini will get caught in the act. So one of my friends, she was dating a Gemini guy, and he was in the midst of one of his crying theatrical spells. And she said that she was just sitting there looking at him, shaking his head, like, wow, does he really think I'm falling for this shit? Like, he had got caught doing some bullshit, and she caught him red-handed, and instead of him fessing up to it, he started turning on the waterworks. And he actually, in the middle of his crying spell, or fake crying spell, he cracked his eye a little bit. Like, she could see she could see him parting his eyelids to see if she was falling for it. And when she said, dude, I see you. Why are you doing this? Why are you sitting here playing games with my life and trying to fake cry and all that shit? And she said that he jumped up and he said, man, fuck this. I am out of here. I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. Like, she said all of the fake crying just went away when she caught him cracking his eye trying to see if she was falling for his bullshit. Like, everything, that whole facade just instantly shifted. Like, she said it was really scary to her because she seen the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when he couldn't get away with his bullshit. So he stormed out and he left, and she said days later he started texting her like, hey, how's it going? Like, that's what they do. They will either text you or call you and try to just act like none of the stuff they did ever happened. They just act like it's damoosh, and they don't really want to talk about it. They just want to gloss over it and move on like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
So be mindful of the fake crying.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then the Gemini guy that I dated a long time ago, well, one of them, he did the same thing to me one time. He was asking me, like, I don't know, he was asking me something about my past. It was pain, and I was just, like, telling him about it, and I was getting emotional. And then he was, like, pretending to cry with me and, like, doing the same thing. And then he, like, kind of, like, cracked his eye open a little bit to see if I was looking at him, like, fake crying. And I didn't say anything. Like, but I was just like, is this really what I'm seeing? Like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't say, and I didn't know what to say. Like, I'd never seen any crap like that before. Only a Gemini will do that.
Oh, my God.
Now I can laugh, but it's stupid.
Now, I have a question for women like you and yourself, April. Why do you guys deal with that? See, because me, I would, like, cut that shit so short, like, oh, my God, fuck out of my face. What are you doing? Like, I think that's why Gemini men, Kathy women don't really attract Gemini men, because we see through their bullshit right away. It's like they know they can't really get one over on us. Maybe that's what it is. But what do you think? Why do you think women put up with that?
Well, I mean, I can't really speak for all women, but in that particular situation, there was a lot of Neptune energy exchanges between us. So I did kind of, and as a Pisces moon, I'm already guilty of kind of putting a fog over people's flaws. A lot of times, if I really want to see the good in them, I'll try so hard, and I'll be like, is that what I saw, or is that what I heard, or am I tripping? And then I'll turn it around on myself, like, nah, I'm just tripping, like, I don't think they're really like that, or they'd really do that. They're a good person, and then I sweep it under the rug. But once stuff like that piles up under that rug, then my Scorpio rising is like, now, wait a second now. I'm not stupid, okay? Like, I need to stop playing stupid. Because I'm not, and I need to say some shit because this is not cool. And I'll start going back over the evidence. Okay, bringing everything out from underneath the rug. There's this, and he did this, and he said this. You know what? He really did say that. And then I'll be like, okay, now, all right. Then I'll say something. But Yeah, like for me personally, it's that Neptune thing, Pisces thing of wanting to see the good in everyone that I just kind of gloss over it. That's how Gemini men have gotten over on me in the past. But I will say this: now I am in a long-term commitment with a man that has a Gemini moon and Venus, and I let him know from the beginning, do not try any of that Gemini shit on me because I will know everything. I will see right through it. I tell that to every relationship, and they don't believe me in the beginning. Then they do something stupid, and they think they got away with it. Then I'll confront them on it. You know I saw that, right? You know I saw that message. You know I saw that in your phone. You know you left evidence of something laying around or whatever. And, you know, the one I'm with now, we're older. We're past our Saturn returns. So he may have tried to lie
which
about
makes a big point.
Yeah, like we got together during our Saturn returns, and so he did try to lie about something one time in the very beginning of our relationship. He tried to lie about something very, very stupid, minute, nothing scandalous, cheating, none of that. It was like I asked him a question and he lied and said no when the evidence was like right on him, right in front of my face. And I'm like, why are you trying to lie? And he did try that Gemini, they start talking fast and making up shit. Then they turn around, they blame it on you. Well, it's all you, and why are you blaming me? And how could you think that? And then they storm out and run off. And then you're just sitting there like, what kind of Tasmanian devil tornado shit just happened? Like,
Yeah, when the Gemini gets caught up, they want to dart off and fly away.
Yeah, they will talk really fast first, point fingers at you, then run off. So he did do that, and then he came back with flowers and said, I am sorry I lied to you. Came back with a card, said, I will never lie to you again. And he's actually stuck by that. We've been together for a long time, and he's stuck by that because he knows I see right through the BS. Don't even try it. So I am a Scorpio woman that so far, knock on some damn wood, I have been successful with a Gemini man. Finally.
She has been successful at taming a Gemini, and she's a Scorpio rising.
Yes,
you get Scorpio's hope out there, girl.
Hey, Scorpio women, if you want to be with a Gemini man, please learn astrology. Watch those transits when they're going to try to do some slick shit, try to be sly and everything. And call them out on it. I know what you're thinking about. I know what you're trying to do right now, so just don't even do it. And, you know, after so many times of you doing that, they'll be like, wow, I really can't bullshit her, can I? Dang, I might as well retire my court jester suit in this relationship and actually, you know, be a real man. Like, and try to just BS everybody else out there. So,
he might retire or... Yeah, he might retire, or he may just fly off and say, "Hey, I'm not ready." So if he's not ready to stop hoeing, just let him fly. Just let him fly.
Yeah, let him fly away like Peter Pan, because Gemini is one of the signs that mainly have that Peter Pan syndrome. Like Apollonius, they'll act young, they'll dress young, they don't want to grow up, they just want to be, you know, they're very youthful men. So they have the Peter Pan syndrome. Never want to grow up. A lot of them are afraid of commitment, so they don't want to get married. Or if they do, they may still do some stuff. And that's another Gemini story that I have. Oh, I have tons. I had a friend of mine who is a Gemini woman, and she was in a relationship, I believe. And she was dating, no, she wasn't. She was dating a Gemini man, right? But he had, like, a girlfriend. He said this is his girlfriend. He lived with this lady and everything. But she was just like, hey, I don't know her. She's not my friend. I mean, he's fair game. Gemini stuff, right? So she's messing with it. She's a Gemini, messing with the Gemini. And then he pops up, he pops up and says, hey, guess what? I just got married to my girl today. And she's like, why would you get married? And he's like, I don't know. He told her a bunch of BS, right? she still continues seeing him. And I guess they had made a deal with one another, like, we're the only ones that are going to be, messing with each other and not be protected. And not even your wife, you got to be protected even with her. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, guess what? His wife ended up getting pregnant by him. And she was like flabbergasted, like, wait, I thought we had a deal. And I was like, girl, did you forget you're messing with a Gemini? Like, one of you? Like, do you really think he's not going to be two-faced about stuff?
Oh, my God.
You think he's not going to lie?
What would make her think? Because if a woman is a newlywed and she just got married and her husband is approaching her about using a condom or protection, doesn't she think that his wife would think something is up with that?
I'm sure she would, and I'm sure that's why the guy lied. He was lying.
Yeah,
he was lying to the girl that I knew. Yeah. He was like, oh,
Wow.
yeah, sure, girl, just to be able to get what he wanted. And then, bam.
Yeah.
So guess what? My wife is pregnant. How did that happen? How do you think? The ninja lied. He's a Gemini. He's living a double life. He tells you one thing, tells her another thing, back and forth. He probably forgot that he told you that shit. So
yes. And that forgetful energy, that's another thing you have to watch with Geminis. Geminis will forget the lies that they have told you. They will forget the stories that they have told you. They will go along with whatever sounds good or convenient at the moment. So you can sit there and make an hour-long worth of plans with a Gemini, but when it comes time for that day and the plans to follow through, like, oh, really, I said that? Oh, my God. Like, they will act like it totally never happened. Or, in your case, using your friend as an example, when he told her that his wife was pregnant, and she's like, what the F? I thought you told me you were going to use protection with her. He probably was like, I said that? Did I actually say that? Like that is how they think. Like, they actually forget the bullshit that they say. They forget the lies that they spew. That's why that is why it's so obvious and they easily get caught, because they forget to cover their tracks. They meant to hide their phone, but they didn't actually hide it. I had a friend also who her man will always charge his phone underneath the mattress. I thought that was odd, but hey, she was in love, but once her spidey senses started tingling, and she's like, well, why does he hide his phone underneath the mattress? So then he would start taking his phone all around the house with him to charge it. So, for example, if he went to the bathroom, his phone and the charger went in the bathroom with him. Or if he went to the living room to watch TV, his phone and his charger went to the living room with him to watch TV, opposed to leaving it in the room and letting it charge and just forgetting about it. So one day he went in the shower, forgot the phone, and she said he came flying out of the bathroom in his towel, soaking wet, to get his phone. And she said she was just sitting on the bed. She's like, she was just sitting on the bed, not even worried about his phone. She didn't even notice that he left it. But she said that's when she knew he was up to no good, because how he flew out of that bathroom was as if she was in his phone and she wasn't even in it. So she's like, damn, you ran to the phone's rescue like something was happening to it. So she asked him about it. He kept lying. And what she ended up doing, they were on a family plan, and she ended up calling the company and having, like, the text messages downloaded to PDF, like, on her laptop. So she was able to see his messages without him knowing, and that, like, busted wide open. So, yeah.
Wow.
Put his ass out. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for her, because you know what?
Mhm.
Gemini is the sign of the phone, of communication, electronic communication. So, I mean, of course, all men, can do, their dirt on the phone, but Gemini men, that's a good way to catch them is their phones, because they are forgetful. They may forget to delete stuff sometimes and leave you know what? And take it from this Scorpio rising, ladies, okay? When the man is in the shower, that's the golden time to look at their phone to see, what evidence you can find if you suspect something. It is, because you know what? I had a relationship like that. I didn't know his rising sign, so I'm not sure if he had Gemini in his chart in particular, but he would do the same thing. Whenever he started doing something that was suspicious, my spidey senses would pick up on it, and I would notice that. He would take the phone in the restroom with him all the time, take his phone everywhere, and freak out if he left it out. And then I didn't say anything. I was like, spidey senses, So, yeah, one time he didn't take it in there. I looked in there, and I was like, wow, okay, all right. And I did call him out on it. And he was texting this girl all the time, supposedly he told me, oh, well, she's into the same type of business that I'm into trying to start, and so that's why I need to talk. She's a business contact. No, they were talking about a bunch of BS, okay? And he was talking to her, and I found out that he was texting her and talking to her on the phone during times where he was gone from the house, and I was trying to get a hold of him, but he never answered me. He was talking to this chick.
Oh.
And so this, take it from me, that is, you want to bust your Gemini man, if he's doing dirt, look in the phone when he's in the shower. If he's taking it in the restroom, taking it everywhere, he's doing something. Spidey senses, let him tingle, follow him.
Wow. Well, I wanted to add the first guy that I talked about that I dated, went on one date with. And this was the same guy from the previous show, the older gentleman that looked young, but he was a Gemini.
The pop-pop?
The pop-pop. He looked young, he dressed young, but he was saying old people shit. And that was a major turnoff to me. Oh, my God. So, as you guys remember from part one, he accidentally texted me the wrong message. And he texted me the message while I was sitting right there with him, and the message said that he was going to bring me home and bang me all over his house. And I'm like, I was flabbergasted. So after that incident, he continued to blow up my phone for weeks. I would always try to because I told you guys I met him at work. So I would always try to get to work early to avoid him so I wouldn't have to see him and stuff like that. So one day he caught me in the hallway. I was waiting on the elevator, and I'm, pushing the button, trying to make the elevator move faster because you just know when a Gemini is coming up to you to talk. So he basically was saying that he apologized if I felt offended, but he would not admit that he was guilty. He still was hanging on to that story that his friend sent him that message, and he forwarded it to me by accident. And this is back in the day before you didn't know that a forwarded message was a forwarded message. So basically, you would see the FWD prior to a forwarded message. Yeah. So I'm like, dude, if the message was forwarded, it would have said that. It would have said that in the chain. But now if you send a forwarded message in 2017, it doesn't necessarily say FWD in the description of the message. So he held on to that story, and he's like, how dare you accuse me of saying that I'm a grown ass man. I would never say anything like that. I'm gonna treat you like a lady regardless, and I would never try to just a bunch of lying, and he wouldn't admit it. So the moral of the story is Geminis have a hard time admitting that they're guilty when still catch them red-handed. So
Wow.
don't try to beat a dead horse. That's what I'm getting at. You don't have to try to beat a dead horse, because a Gemini wants to save face. They don't necessarily like being embarrassed. They don't like being caught with their hand in the cookie jar. So, excuse me, just let that shit ride, basically.
Wow. Yeah, that text messaging thing, that'll get somebody caught up. I have a Gemini friend that did that one time. That's a notorious Gemini thing, especially if it's during a Mercury retrograde. I don't know if you remember Mercury was retrograde during that time, but they will do some stuff like that. Yeah, I had a friend that was trying to send a message to me, and instead they sent a message to the person that they were talking crap about, that they were gossiping about, to me.
Oh.
And this friend was a Gemini.
Yeah,
like,
and see, that's what get their asses caught up, and that's what got him caught up that night. Not saying he was getting any ass anyway, but just saying he talked himself out of the coochie, or he texted himself out of it because that was it. And
wow.
my last Gemini story, I wanted to put this out there. Now, if you're interested in Gemini men and you happen to be a plus-sized woman, be mindful that Gemini men tend to prefer skinny or dainty or petite women. Unless he's a Gemini man that has significant Cancer energy, significant Virgo energy, or Taurus energy, because Cancer, Taurus, Virgo in general can like a more plush or voluptuous woman per se. So I happened to go out on a date with a Gemini guy, and this was back in the later days of like Black Planet. I met him online, and I had a lot of pictures online, so it wasn't like he didn't know what I looked like or I was trying to deceive him or anything. So basically we met on a blind date. So I want to say this was like do you even remember Black Planet, April?
I remember hearing about it and several other sites like that, but I never joined any of that stuff. I was in a relationship when that stuff was popping.
Well, Black Planet was kind of like MySpace before MySpace came about. Yeah. But it wasn't a dating site. You would just kind of make friends, and if they happened, you could meet people local to your area online. So, long story short, we met, and he told me, he was like, well, my car is down right now, and you may notice that with Gemini men too. They'll always be in between cars, or their car is down, or some shit like that, because Mercury plays a big part in their lives, and it's always something going on with the car. I noticed that with Gemini guys. So, or they need to borrow your car right quick, that type of shit. So he was like, meet me at the train station. My car is down, and we could just go to dinner from there or whatever. So I pick him up, and we go to the restaurant that he picked. And we are, and mind you, he had already told me beforehand. He texted me like, you know, we definitely need to go Dutch because, you know, my funds are tight. Another textbook Gemini thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll pay for my own shit. No big deal. Because Gemini men can be very frugal and cheap. So unless they know that they're going to seal the deal, mean take you home, they don't want to spend any unnecessary or excess cash on you unless they're going to get something in return. So we're at dinner, and I remember distinctively, I ordered chicken Alfredo, and he ordered a fat-ass burger, like the hugest burger, and he ordered some onion rings. So our food comes out, and I start eating my pasta and stuff, and it was just like grilled chicken Alfredo with the broccoli and mushrooms and stuff. And the probably most unhealthiest thing on my plate was the pasta. And he's like, it probably would have been ideal had you gotten a salad. And I said, but I didn't want a salad. Yeah, he literally said that. I said, but I didn't want a salad. And he's like, okay. So we just continue to date. And mind you, I was younger at the time. So I let that shit fly over my head. Like, okay, maybe, I don't know what the fuck is up with him and saying I should get a salad or whatever. So that date ends, and I take him back to the train station. So he calls me for yet a second date. So we go out the second time, and this time we didn't go to dinner. We went to have drinks, and that's another pastime that Geminis like to have. Let's go for drinks. So we went to go have drinks or whatever. Mind you, his fucking car was still down. So we went to go have drinks, and we started drinking and talking, and he says to me, after we had been drinking for like an hour, you are absolutely beautiful. I mean, you are stunning. I like your personality. You're like one of the coolest chicks I ever met, but there's one issue. And I said, what's that? And he said, you're fat. And he said it plain as day. He said it plain as day. But Geminis can be very blunt with the truth. They share that with a Sag. And Sages can sugarcoat their truth to you sometimes, but a Gemini can be very blunt. But a Sag will get in their funk, too, and be blunt with that shit, too. So he said it outright. He was like, but you're fat. And I said, well, I was really taken aback. I didn't even really know how to respond. And I just looked at him like, and I said, I've never had a problem getting a man at my size. And he's like,
thank you.
But do they just want to fuck you, or do they really want you? That's what he said to me.
Oh, so, my God.
I was like, well, and I wasn't really mad. I was actually giggling because it was like, wow, I couldn't believe he was saying this, but I was a little drunk too. So I was like, he's talking shit, so I'm going to just laugh, because at the end of the day, I could really leave his ass here if he pissed me off to that point. So finishing on with the story, he said those things, and he was like, well, I like you so much that if you lost weight, I would marry you. That's what he said. That is what he said. And I said,
my God.
Who says I want to marry you? I said, I've only been talking to you for like 3 weeks. And he's like, but you like me, though, because you keep answering my calls. You keep coming out with me. And I'm like, this is just the second date. So anyway, we leave. We were there for like another 30 minutes or so. We actually danced after that. He like grabbed me off my stool. Yeah, he grabbed me off my bar stool and was like, come on, let's go dance. Like, a Gemini, that's so textbook Gemini, to say some crazy ass shit to you, but then dance and have fun with you for the rest of the night. So we leave the bar, and the train had stopped running at that point, but he didn't live far, so I took him right to his house. So we're parked outside of his apartment complex, and I'm telling him goodbye or whatever. Tell me why this fool was like, so you going to come upstairs, right? And I was like, no. And he was like, what do you mean? You not going to come upstairs and spend the night? And I said, no. I said, do you actually think you were going to get some ass with how you talk to me? And he's like, what? All I did was tell you need to lose a little weight. I told you look good. You fine. You just need to lose a little weight. Girl, this fool proceeded to tell me how he has a homeboy that's a personal trainer, and he will have me looking right and tight in no time. And just because he told me that I was a little fat don't mean that we can't fuck. We're going to have a good time. I was like, get out of my car. I never talked to him after that. He was blowing up my phone. He was emailing me constantly. This was back when Instant Messenger was on there too, and he would constantly instant message me like, oh, so you just going to stop talking to me? You don't just stop talking to people like that? And luckily he didn't know where I lived or anything like that, but yeah. So women, pay attention, be mindful. If you happen to be involved with a Gemini man and he's always saying stuff to you about your weight, about your body, because that's another thing about Gemini men, they will try to mold you into the perfect little Barbie that they want. These are usually the men that will tell you you need to get titties done or you need to get ass shots. You'll be perfect if you just get some ass shots, or you'll be perfect if you just get your tits done. You'll be perfect if Geminis are always trying to mold you into their perfect little Barbie, but then they'll still go and cheat on you. So it's like a never-ending song of what they actually want. Because they want everything. They want their hand in every single pot. Yeah.
Wow.
So he doesn't want a fat chick. He doesn't want a fat chick, but he'll still try to fuck me, though. So
that is crazy.
Make up your mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And first of all, woman to woman, I am so sorry to hear that somebody talks to you like that. I know how that
Gemini.
feels because yes. I've had that happen to me with all of my relationships except for the current one, and I'm talking about three other serious relationships that I had, and 2 out of the 3 had Gemini energy in their charts, and they told me that I was too, but they also had Cancer energy too, so they preferred thick women, and I am very petite.
Yeah.
I'm very petite and thin. Like you said, the Gemini men, they love little pixie fairy women, most of the time with short hair, pixie cut hair, a bob, some sort of short, cute hairdo that's spiky or some shit. Gemini men are attracted to that, or men with Venus in Gemini. But the men I dated, they had Cancer and some other energies too that made them attracted to thicker women as well. They liked both, actually, but they would tell me the same thing. Oh, you know what? You are so beautiful. You're so fine, this and that. But you need to gain weight. You need to get your boobs done. Every relationship I was in, they all told me that. One of them gave me an ultimatum and said, I have 6 months to gain such and such pounds or else he's going to leave me. So, that's just really messed up. Maybe I'll tell that story on the next.
He had Cancer energy? He had Cancer energy?
I think he was a Cancer rising. Yeah. So maybe we'll talk about that in our Cancer show about them liking thick women. But Gemini men, they love petite women like that. So normally.
And just to top it off, this guy whipped out his penis in my car and showed it to me as if that was going to entice me to come up to his house. But let me just say, his penis was beautiful. It was one of the biggest penis I had ever seen in my life. And I was like, the devil on my shoulder was like, girl, just take this one for the team. How dare you let that big, beautiful penis just walk past you and you not ride it.
Oh, my God.
But
oh, my God.
I was like, no, fuck that. I have more self-respect than to let him talk to me like that and call me all types of fat bitches in his head and still get something from me. No. So I was like, no, get out of my car, go. I couldn't.
Kudos. So, yes, thanks for kicking him out. So
don't let the Gemini men disrespect you.
Nope. So I'm going to tell one last quick story that a friend wanted me to tell, and then I think Rabina is calling in. We have to get to her story. I can't wait to see what she has to say. So, another friend of mine, she's an Aquarius rising. So that puts Gemini as her fifth house of what she is romantically attracted to. And on top of that, her Venus is in Gemini in the fifth house. So she's very Gemini in the way that she expresses her femininity. So she attracts Gemini men. The two long-term relationships that she had that were the most traumatic for her were both with Gemini men. And she told me, they both did some similar things, even though they were totally different guys, but they were both Gemini, so she noticed some patterns. Anyhow, the one story I was going to tell is, we were very young, like late teens, early 20s. So back in the day, we couldn't go to, this was before we were 21. We couldn't hit up bars or anything like that. So, and we grew up in the hood. So the thing to do was you go to a house party, you go to a kickback, that's what we call it over here in the West Coast. You go to a kickback with a bunch of friends. So anyhow, I was dating a guy. She was dating the guy's cousin. The cousin was a Gemini sun and probably other planets in Gemini. So he was a Gemini. They got along great, both had goofy sense of humor. She's a very good girl. She's a Cancer also, so she's very family-oriented. He's very family-oriented. He would bring her around the family all the time. And once again, since I was dating his cousin, we were all like family besides her being a good friend of mine. So she was a good family girl, right? But guess what? Eventually, I started, I would still go to the kickbacks with my man, and then his cousin would show up with some other chick. And I'm like, now, wait a second now. Who is she? Like, my friend is a blonde, a blondie, and this other girl was a brunette, black hair, dark hair girl, very long hair. She had piercings, facial piercings. She was a little wild. She liked to drink. She liked to do drugs. So he was living a double life. But so he was with my friend, total opposite from this girl and this other girl. So he was totally living a double life. He had two different chicks that he was juggling. So it's like he had the bad girl on the weekend and the good girl during the week. And the thing that boggled my mind was, Ninja, do you know that I can see you? Like, I see you. Like, me, this is my best friend. You think I'm not going to tell her anything? Like, you just boldly just bring this other chick around. I'm like, wait, what? Like, you have no shame. And I was in a tough spot because I'm like, do I or do I not tell my friend? Because this is also a family thing here. Like, if something happens between them, I was pretty much practically married to my man at the time. So I'm like, his family's my family. Well, we have a child together. So his family's my family permanently. So I'm like, do I or do I not tell my friend? And mess with, and so, yes, I told my friend. And I did some Scorpio rising digging for her. I found out where the chick worked and everything.
Oh, my God.
Of course I did. Of course I found out where she worked.
Found out where she worked.
And what area she lives, everything. And I told my friend, and she confronted her dude on it, and it caused them to break up. But he was still trying to get her. They're still in contact with one another. That is some Gemini stuff right there. Like, this guy cheated on you, but you guys are like friends still. Like, I don't know. It's weird. That's Gemini stuff. Okay, good for them.
Yeah, a Scorpio wouldn't understand why you're still friends with someone that cheated on you.
No, not friends with any of my exes. Gone, dead, blocked from all social media. You're dead, buddy. I'm sorry, but no her. Oh, hey, we're still buddies. Like, how the? No, but they're still cool. They've grown up now. He's a changed man now. Actually, I'll add that in. This is the good, the bad, and the scandalous. He's a changed man. He's a church-going man now. He's a good father. I don't know his relationship status. I don't know his relationship status to be able to speak on that, but his family is even validated. He's a good church-going man now. So, you know, maybe that's why she's cool with him now, but I couldn't do it, but clap for my friend.
Yeah, clap for your friend, and hopefully in a couple years it won't come out that he's fucking a couple chicks in the church. Praise the Lord.
That's the end of that story.
Exactly.
Oh my God. All right, shall we start taking our callers now? We have a couple.
Yeah, let's talk to Rabina so she can tell us her stories, and then we can get to some other callers.
Yeah, and didn't we had an email, right? We had an email. Somebody wanted to do a synastry. She's dating a Gemini man.
Yeah. We have someone that's going to call in for a mini reading, so we'll wait for her to call in too.
Oh, she's calling. Okay, good. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, let's bring our Cosmic Council member Rabina on to join in on the Gemini conversation. Rabina?
Hey, ladies.
Hey, what up?
Hey.
What's up? Hey, April. Hey, Apollonia.
How you doing tonight?
I am doing great. I am loving this show. Part 1 and Part 2, these stories are just crazy, just like Gemini, and I'm relating so much to it. I'm telling you, because I got some experience with some Geminis now. So,
I bet
yeah.
you're being a Sag.
Yeah. You know it. And
you
my
have
Mars
a love-hate
is in Gemini.
relationship.
Yeah, and my Mars is in Gemini, so I attract Gemini males. So one of the things I was going to say, April, you mentioned Geminis being friends with exes. That's real common with them. That's what I've noticed. Basically, they like to keep exes in their back pocket for future reference just in case. They like to keep them in case. Yeah.
A Rolodex of exes?
Exactly. A Rolodex. That's a good way of putting it. Because I have 2 Gemini flings that I dealt with like 20 years ago, and both of them still to this day hit me up and be like, hey, you know, I'm going to come out and see you one day. And, you know, it's always it's never set in stone. You know how Geminis are. But they always want to keep that window of opportunity open some way, somehow. But and then also, Apollonia, you talking about how that second Gemini dude was all talking about you're fat and all this stuff and trying to mold you into this Barbie doll. I thought about Biggie with Little Kim. And I know Biggie did a job on Little Kim's psyche with his no-filter ass. I'm sure he was comparing her to Faith, Charlie Baltimore, all of the chicks that, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, Little Kim said that she met Biggie when she was like 15, and he told her if she sticks with him, he'll make her a star. Like, he gave her her image. He initially wrote her raps for her. So, yeah, and she's a Cancer, very impressionable. Very impressionable.
And very sensitive.
So, yeah.
And a Cancer can't handle a Gemini's tongue, and they can't handle a Gemini's mode of operation because, you know, Gemini is, you know, they switch up, they're shifty.
Yeah.
So, but I just got a couple of stories just dealing with some Gemini. So, like you mentioned, like 1 minute they could be tearing you down, next minute they could be like a barrel of laughs and so much fun and all that stuff. But actually, that's what keeps them around, like, because at the end of the day, like, they're real fun and, you know, they're easy breezy and they're very easy to get along with. But they got this thing with comparison. So, like, this Gemini ex I had, I was dating him when I was 17. And we were at the movies one night seeing Poetic Justice. And he was like, why don't you have a fat ass like Janet? And I was like, oh, wow. So talk about a blow to my self-esteem. So, yeah, when they want to, you know, compare you to others or talk about your body, that is so true. And then this one friend, we've been friends for years. But when we was, like, dating, and it wasn't even, you know, serious dating, but, you know, we were homie lover friends. But he never expressed to me that he was really feeling me like that until I moved across the country. That's when he wanted to tell me that, you know, he always felt like I was the one and that, you know, he was just waiting for me and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you say it since I'm thousands of miles away from you. How convenient. But when I was up in your face, it was all like you could take me or leave me. So, yeah, so still to this day, he be, you know, hitting me up, you know, periodically just to check in and see how things are going and stuff. And actually, I saw him last year. I went to see him. So he's my good friend and all that. But he still has this thing with him where he don't want to fully express his feelings. So Jim and I, like, they have a hard time expressing those tender feelings, and like those tender moments are real awkward for them, and it's just like, wow. And I can't, as a Sagittarius, I can't get down with that iffy shit. You know, Sagittarius, once we feel something, we like to jump in with both feet. We like to go all the way. And that's part of the difference between Gemini and Sag. There's a lot of similarities, but the difference is we like to go, like, hard and, you know, do it quick and, like, come on, no dithering, no wavering. But Gemini is all like, well, hold up. So, yeah, that's real annoying. So I know I could never be with him, even though that's my boy, you know, that's my friend. And that's the thing with Gemini, like, you can be friends with them even though they're an ex. That's one sign where you can. Aquarius is another one, and you know the air has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
So, but then another one, I had this coworker who's a Gemini, and he was dealing with another coworker. He was sexually involved with a coworker, but he also had a girlfriend that he was living with, and she was pregnant. Well, don't you know he held the baby shower for her at our job with the girl that he was fucking sitting right there.
Of course.
That
is crazy.
Textbook Gemini.
Gemini. It's like they like to keep that shit in close quarters. And it makes sense because, you know, Gemini deals with relatives, deals with twins, siblings, all that stuff. So they take that shit kind of literally.
Yeah. Wow.
And another thing about the body, yeah, I agree that they like the petite and, you know, the wavy type, but I also noticed that they like big breasts too, though.
Yeah,
they
like a variety.
Yeah, they do like, and that's the thing. So, like, just like y'all said, he might be bigging you up, talking about I love your body and all that stuff, but you might be a 32B. Next thing you know, he looking at the 36D chick, like, lusting after her. I'm telling you, these dudes, they're off the chain. To me, in terms of the dark side of nature, they're some of the worst. Because you never know what's coming from
agree. Them. Wow, I agree. That's crazy.
Wow,
that reminds me of, the Gemini ex that I had, and he told me, oh, no, I like that you're petite. I like you're small. I prefer my women like that. But he thought he was a rapper, right, like all Geminis. And I found some rhymes that he had written, and he said in one of his rhymes, I have a fetish for big breasts, pretty much. And I found it, and I'm like, no, wait a second. Why write this? You said that you like me, how I like petite. And he was like, oh, but you see, that's just a rhyme. Like, I don't really mean that. You know that. You know, I'm like, whatever. Two-faced mother.
Two-faced. But on the positive end, they got some tricks up their sleeve when it comes to the bedroom now, though. Because one story in particular, me and this dude, Gemini, we was getting into it and stuff, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll just say it involved, you know those Garcia Vega plastic cigar cases where it comes like one cigar comes in and it's like a big plastic case and you can screw it off. Yeah, well, anyway,
I think I've seen that.
So just imagine that dipped in ice water, and I'll just leave the rest up to your imagination.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like a tube.
That's what we were saying, Rabina, that women say that they put up with a Gemini man's shit because they're some of the best in bed.
Yeah, they got some tricks up their sleeve, for real.
Yeah, they are tricksters in all areas of life.
Well, I would suppose so. If they hoe so much, they should.
I know. And they got to make up for that mouth. But that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to take up any more time, but y'all are doing a
Yeah, they
great
got to
job.
make up for calling you fat bitches.
Right? They're just
And
like
letting
the dudes
phone
you
numbers
want to throw a drink in their face.
Yep.
Wow.
But I called in late. Did y'all get on the subject of what's his face with Rashida? Kirk.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, what did you want to add to that?
I missed it. I don't have really anything particular to add. I just wanted to say that I knew that he was a snake from the beginning. I could just see it. I never liked that dude. So I wasn't, when you told me he was a Gemini, I was like, okay, I can see that.
Yep. Kirk
Double
from
life.
Love and Hip Hop is a Gemini, and he's living a double life. Not only has he had a baby on Rashida, he always goes and get another apartment and sets the woman up there so that he can have that place at his disposal. And I think the older that the Gemini men get, they rather have a double life because I don't want to say they ever get tired of playing the field, but they get tired of trying to keep up with the lies the older that they get.
Yeah.
So I think it becomes a route of convenience opposed to let me just keep going out here and meet somebody different because, of course, they still enjoy the chase, but he's a textbook Gemini. If you watch previous episodes and past episodes, and if I'm not mistaken, I had pulled Rashida's chart too, and I think I'm going to tell you guys her moon really quickly because it was her moon to me that was making her, because she's a Gemini too. Her birthday is the same day as Kirk, but she was born in 82 opposed to him being born in 69.
Wow.
Oh, so he's kind of up there.
Yeah, she's a Cancer moon. She's a Gemini Cancer, and from what I see in her, she's possibly a Libra rising. So, yeah, that Cancer moon is what makes her just cling to him, and he's the end all be all, and the sun just rises and sets on his ass, and she's just, Cancer women can be a glutton for punishment, and especially when it comes to the ain't shit men that they have in their lives. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's all I had on Kirk.
Yeah, and you guys know, I don't know if you guys ever watched this other show. I do get into some reality shows. I'm just picky about them. But I used to watch the Braxton Family Values, and yes, their dad, he was living a double life, and he's a Gemini, and that's why their parents broke up. Yeah, he was living a double life. He had the good wife at home that was a pastor raising all the kids, but he still went out and did his thing. He had to live that double life. So
wow, I didn't know he was a Gemini, and I remember them having, an issue with him over that. Yup.
Yeah, yeah. I had to look.
Gemini men can use religion. Yeah, Gemini men can use religion as a cover up. I see that often. That's why I said that about your homeboy. I said hopefully down the years it won't come out that he has a few babies throughout the church, But praise the Lord. But I have seen that very frequent, that Gemini men will use religion as a cover-up for their fuckery. That's what they will do. Like, think about the movie Friday when Bernie Mac went to Homegirl's house and he was like, we just praying. Like he came over to pray. That's textbook Gemini shit. Right. That's what a Gemini will do. Yep.
It sounds like it. All right. Well, yeah, Rabina, thank you so much for calling in and giving your input and your funny stories, adding to the show. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, keep doing y'all thing. Many blessings. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Thanks, Rabina.
You're welcome. Peace.
All right. Woo! My goodness. Okay, so hold on. There was one other thing I remembered. Do you remember the story I told you? And I will be really quick. Then we'll get to our other caller, and we'll get to the girls reading at the end. There was another Cancer Gemini friend that I had back in the day. He was like my boyfriend at the time's friend. And he had like Venus and Moon in Gemini, I think. So he had 2 girlfriends, like serious girlfriend, committed girlfriend, relationship girlfriends. I discovered that because, my man would take me to his best friend's house all the time, and then, like, he'd have his girlfriend, and then there would be another girl, and then they switched around, and I'm like, what? Finally I started asking some questions. What the hell? Who is who? Who's what? Oh, they're both his girlfriends, I guess. I was like, okay. Whatever.
Wow.
I gave him the side eye all the time. All the time I would give him the side eye. So he had pictures of the girls, like, in frames, okay? So when one girl would come over, he would put up the pictures of that girl and him and her together, and then take them down when the other girl came over and put up pictures of him and her and of her, like framed pictures. So he would switch the pictures around whenever they came over. So how he got caught up was he had the wrong pictures up when the wrong girl came over, and he got caught. So that's Gemini men. They will live a double life. They will switch things around and move things around, and they forget. They're forgetful. I bet you it was a Mercury retrograde when he forgot about those pictures, had the wrong pick up. They will do some stuff like that. Crazy Gemini.
See, they always stumble over their bullshit because they tell so many lies and they make so many moves. You're bound to get tangled up in the web of deceit. You're just bound to. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well,
very annoying.
Whew, I think I am out of
stories.
Maybe
I will not deal with a Gemini man. I always say that I don't want no Gemini man. Unless, and Rabina, if you're still listening, I hold you guys to this. He can be a May Gemini possibly, or if he's Andre 3000, I'll give him a shot. Or that is one of the finest Gemini men I have ever seen. But Gemini men, it's hard to find them tall. It's hard to find a Gemini man that's tall. And I'm into tall men, rarely. But if I meet a Gemini guy and he's tall, he usually snatches my attention because I noticed that May Gemini men can be taller than June Gemini because they may have some Taurus thrown up in there. And Taurus men can be very big, like linebacker type builds, and I like all of that kind of stuff. But
Prince is a prime example of like the smaller Gemini man. Yeah, and actually, I'm small, so Prince was perfect for me. Prince has been one of my biggest all-time celebrity crushes since I was like 4 years old. I still love Prince. I think he's one of my astral boo things in the astral realm. We're connected somehow. He was a beautiful man, and he's a Gemini, and Gemini is my 8th house. I tend to attract him and fall for that Gemini stuff, man. But Prince, prime example.
Yeah.
The song that we play in the beginning is by Quincy, who is Albie Shore's son, and he is a young Gemini guy, and he is one of my newest celebrity crushes, and of course he has to be a Gemini, but he is beautiful. He is beautiful. Go stalk him on Instagram. He is gorgeous. Damn Gemini, man.
Yeah. He is a handsome young fella. He definitely is. I'm sure he has a lot of chicks like his father once did. He is a very handsome guy. But Gemini falls in my 4th house using Placidus. So the only issue is that my Chiron is in the 4th house as well. So I am fully aware that a man that may have Mars in Gemini, which I wouldn't deal with, but if he has Venus in Gemini, or if he has the Sun in Gemini, a Gemini probably could have or will some power over me with heavy influences conjuncting my Chiron, and that could potentially harm or hurt me. And I don't mean like that, but I mean like physically making my heart ache. And so I don't know. I steer clear of Gemini's bullshit. Like I can smell it right away. I may entertain it because I'm an Aquarius rising, and I always think back to that guy who I was out on a date with calling me fat and all that. And I was like, that was my Aquarius rising entertaining his bullshit. But my cap stellium is like, if he only knew, I'm never calling him back again. This is the last time he's going to see or hear from me. But I can sit there and play with you like nothing. But, yeah, so I'm attracted to Gemini energy. It's just that I don't have time for dealing with them on a long-term basis usually.
Yeah. I wish I had that power. I wish I had it. But anyhow, so we have one more caller. We're going to take this call for a little bit, then we're going to get into reading a chart that was synastry that was emailed to us by a loyal listener. So area code 443-812, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Who's this?
Hey, it's Nakia. I actually emailed my synastry chart to you guys with the two Pisces.
So
yes, this is me.
Started.
Awesome. We were going to get started.
Okay.
Yes.
So awesome. You called in the nick of time. Okay. So let me pull up her email so that I can give you the details. To the audience listening, Nakia is currently in a relationship with a Gemini man. So do you want to give the audience a little backdrop on your relationship? And I'm going to pull up the data that you sent to me so that April can get it plugged in.
Oh, I have
it.
I'm going to plug it in.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it, April? Okay,
short,
great.
Yeah. So this is my second Gemini man back to back. So my ex-fiance of 6 years was a Gemini as well. And that started off kind of interesting based on everything y'all been talking about, like them cheating and everything, because I was actually kind of dating him when he was coming out of a relationship. You know how that goes. So it kind of overlapped sort of kind of, but yeah. So anyway, so we kind of got together quickly after he got out of a relationship, and then we were together like every day. It's kind of stuff like a friend thing because I have a Gemini moon as well, so we kind of connected on all types of levels, more so like friends first, and then it got romantic. And so that last 6 years, and we were pretty much good up until the last year when he started kind of wanting to hang out with his friends after we got engaged. Then I started seeing him pick up on like little habits of his friends. So I was like, he's kind of following. And me being an Aries, it was like, no. But he, of course, denied it. Like, I'm not following anybody, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing me. And then I kind of started suspecting little things. Like, I don't know if it was my intuition, but some girl just kept popping up in his, like, top friends. And I don't know how it works on Facebook, but I know that you have to interact in some way for people to pop up on your friend list.
Yeah.
So, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert at Facebook, but so I don't know. I just kind of and I guess maybe I got a little bored too. I don't know. We both maybe got a little bored, but things just went to the left over time, and that was over. But in the midst of that being over, my friend, which is my boyfriend now, of 15 years, since I was 17, he was kind of there for support, and then we kind of dated back when I was 17 too, but I was young, and I was kind of all over the place, and I was going through college, so that just never worked, and I told him, we're never going to be together, blah, 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 but he still kind of hung around, and he actually would come to some of my ex's birthday parties because we were friends, and he's like friends with my older sister and friends with my mother and my father. Like, he was like a family friend as well. So in the midst of my breakup with my ex-fiance, we started kind of, getting closer, more well, not experiment, but we kind of started looking at each other a little different on the romantic side. So that's where I'm at now with him. I'll go into more detail once you guys start going into the chart. Do you have any questions? But yeah, but the new boyfriend is a longtime friend, but also now we're romantic. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't no cheating
April, did you
necessarily.
want to start?
And don't go easy. Keep it real, because the things y'all just said, I haven't necessarily experienced them. I don't know if I'm up on them because of my Gemini moon, and I can match the energy a little bit. Like, I can switch up with you with the best of them as well, and then I have the Sagittarius rising. I'm just mutable all around. So I'm like, okay, I'll switch it up, and I am the variety. You know, I'm every woman wrapped in one, so they normally don't get bored. So, I mean, you let me know what you see.
Well, I didn't do the ex-fiance. I just did the current boyfriend.
That's because we don't need that negative energy necessarily. We don't need.
Yeah. Now, what I noticed right off with this guy, the Gemini stellium in his first house. So he's very Gemini-esque. Sun, Chiron, North Node. He's very attached to.
That's the X.
Oh, that's the X.
Yes.
Let me look.
Yes.
Let me look. Okay.
Because that was the selfish one. That was more about himself. We broke up because he was being a little selfish. I think,
their birthdays are a day apart.
Yes, their birthdays are a day apart.
I know. That's why I was nervous.
You know,
that's why I'm like, am I doing this again?
You know, the only woman who I've met to do that is my mother. My father and my stepfather's birthday are on January the 12th. And you know, Leo, my mother's a Leo, and Leos and Capricorns have really good sex. If you didn't know, now you know. So
now I know.
My father and my stepfather's birthday is the same exact day, and everyone always asks her, like, damn, what are the odds? Like, two men from two different coasts, two different sides of the world, and she did that. Okay, so let me get this new guy plugged in, because I had the wrong birthday, and I had so much dirt on him because...
I mean, you can give me the dirt, because that probably was nice. That first house sign, I don't know.
First of all, he was, he had a Gemini stellium in his first house, so he was very much so a follower and very abrasive with his Gemini antics. Now, the ex-fiance, the question I was going to ask, because I thought this was the new boo, did you have any issues, or was he like a kept man at one point? Did he have like gigolo energy popping off?
Oh, yes. He was a cheater. Yes, he was a cheater before me. I was supposed to be the first person he didn't cheat on. So.
Oh, no. He's a cheater, and he's very good at it. Very good at it, because I just got, this is like a man who could sell his sex.
That's all he lived off of. Oh, yeah, his manhood was his best asset.
Yeah.
Like, people say, I'm good at singing and dancing. He like, oh, I'm good at that.
That's exactly what I got from his chart. And he has Mars conjunct Saturn in Scorpio. He could probably fuck for hours. And,
he wasn't bad
totally,
at that.
Mars and Saturn. Now, Mars and Saturn in a man in a fixed sign or fixed energy, he could go on and on and on. Like, he could go to one chick, smash her, have an orgasm, and go to another one and keep going like he hadn't even just dealt with homegirl earlier that day. Like, he could be a breeder if he wanted to, or a gigolo.
Yeah,
or,
he had some kids.
He
had, like, kids. 3 kids.
Yeah. I see that. That's why I was about to say, if this is the guy, I'm so glad this is the ex. I'm glad I had it wrong, because I was about to say, girl.
Yeah, but don't the other ones that had Mars conjunct Saturn too, because they were so close back to back.
Yeah.
I'm about to pull his up now too. So April, you take this. You take the lead because now I got to start over. We should have left Ravina on so that she could go into on this ministry.
Yeah. But, well, what I see is with this guy is that first of all he has the Sun and the North Node together, and usually those guys, they tend to have big egos in some sort of way. But the thing is, his Sun is directly conjunct Chiron too. So I think if he does have a big ego, he's also insecure on the inside, and he tries to make up for it like big time by really acting like he is just Mr. Big Stuff. Also, he has Uranus in the 7th house of his chart. So that can really make him attracted to on-again, off-again relationships, wishy-washy. He can be the one to kind of disappear. Besides being a Gemini, Uranus will just flip relationship stuff around for him. And he doesn't mind being at a distance or having a girlfriend that's like the homie lover friend rather than a committed one. And having several of them. He really likes a variety because of that Gemini and that Uranus. Yeah, he really likes a variety of different types of women at different times. He likes to have the freedom to do as he pleases in relationships at his own discretion. Did he ever just like kind of skip out whenever he wants and kind of not really say much of where he's going or anything like that? Yeah, the ex.
The ex, no, he would never. I'm an Aries woman, so he know he would die. But no, he never skipped out. But towards the end, you know, he kept like, well, I'm going to hang with my. He did switch it up really, really quick. And the Uranus in that 7th, I was kind of worried because I thought he was a little gay at sometimes. No, you know, I'm not homophobic at all, but I thought that he had some feminine ways coming out sometimes. Like, you know, like when guys like when they too focus on your booty, not to get too, graphic there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, some things like that was a little off, and And then he's also from another country too. He's from Trinidad, and I'm from the U.S., so I didn't know if that kind of played a part in it as well.
Well,
I don't know, but he didn't try too much on me.
Yeah, well, that's good because Uranus energy, at least from my studies, is one of the main planets that I find associated with homosexuality in men and women, because they go against the grain of what is quote-unquote normal, which is heterosexual and man-woman get together and breed and have children. Uranus makes them want to go the opposite way sometimes, and question that. Why should I have to do that? Why can't I try being with the same sex? Why can't I, So they will try it.
And he probably would deny it.
Do it. Yeah, he'll probably deny it. Uranus with that Uranus there, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and he might have skipped out on a few exes, but he was kind of up under me for a while, like always wanted to stay home, or I don't know, and smoke. I don't know if that was the Pisces moon. April, I know you got one, but
yeah.
But I don't know. So he kind of was like that for a little bit. Like I was more so the outgoing one, and I probably would have been more so skipping out if anything. But I became a little submissive with him. But he probably definitely did that in the past relationships. But he didn't play that shit with me.
Yeah, and he has Mercury and Venus in the 12th house too. So that's also like escapism and indulgence because it's in Taurus, indulging in escapist tendencies. So yeah. Besides all the Gemini stuff, I mean, that's what I see.
Yeah, he wasn't really open about too much of his feelings either, like communication-wise. He would kind of shy away from those topics versus the boyfriend now, who also has a Pisces moon, Gemini sun. But
wow.
I think that's research. Yeah, I know. What was I thinking? But first, it wasn't on purpose. It was the universe.
Wow. Well, I definitely I see why you and him have been friends for so long. You guys have a lot of commonality, of course. with your Neptunes conjuncting, as well as your Gemini stelliums conjuncting. So you guys have a lot of, and it's in the 11th house as well, the conjunction of the Gemini energy. So you guys, this speaks to you guys being friends before you became lovers. Now, with this one, with the new guy, this is your Saturn that falls into his 5th house. Now, I say this all the time. Now, the only difference here that may make this a little bit interesting is your Saturn is conjunct his Uranus. Now, in the 5th house, this can be, do you guys have a tug of war between feeling like friends again or feeling like a couple again? Because I can see that Uranus and that Saturn energy kind of like being in a tug of war, and Saturn and your Saturn being in his 5th house. How is he with spending time with you? Does he look at you sometimes like a Debbie Downer or something?
No, he doesn't look at me like a Debbie Downer, but we do kind of look at each other like, I can't believe we used to be friends, but now we're like lovers. So sometimes we have to kind of like, we kind of have those moments when we look at each other like, am I really doing this with him? Are we really dating right now? But I'm really, not too much Debbie Downer, but I am more structured, I would say. Like, you need to plan this out more. You need to, get a schedule. Like, I'm more like, definitely like that.
Yeah, so you're the Saturnian person. Yeah, you're the Saturnian person in the relationship. Now, over time, I'm hoping that won't become an issue. But I do like the fact that your Mars is conjunct his Jupiter. That's really good in the sexual department. And you guys really connect there. And then his moon in Pisces is conjunct your Jupiter in his 8th house. So he definitely has a bond with you that's tight. Like, he wants to be with you. The bond is really tight, and you make him. He wants to go to another level with you. I don't know if you guys have gotten that deep, because I know you said y'all kind of just started this thing, but eventually you could take him to higher heights and higher places. And your Mercury conjuncts his Lilith. Now, from my understanding with Lilith, Lilith in a man's chart is the woman that can bring him to his knees. So that Pisces energy that you have could make him leery a little bit, but he's still enticed by it. So I would definitely tap into your Pisces, the Pisces pieces of your chart, if you want to kind of keep a hold on him, because Pisces is the only sign that can really beat a Gemini at his own game. So that's actually phenomenal that you have this Pisces energy sitting on his Lilith, because you really have the power. If anybody has it, you have the power to have him eating out of the palm of your hand.
I do, girl.
Yeah. So I think the synastry looks pretty decent for you and him. It actually looks really good to me. What I like about his chart is that he doesn't have Uranus in the 7th. Now, that first guy, he was never going to commit to you in an orthodox way. Never. But this guy, definitely, because the ruler of his 7th house is Saturn, and your Saturn sits in his 5th house. So you do have the power to have a hold on him, but at the same time, sometimes with his Uranus energy, he may want to break free. So as time goes along, you may have to give him that weekend to himself, or, you know, just know, because he's going to come back, but he will need that break free space from you sometimes with Uranus. You know, Saturn sits on Uranus and kind of compresses it, and Uranus will just break out at some point. So he may do that from time to time.
Okay.
But other than that,
I'll
I
make
think
sure I
the
give
ministry looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, I tapped into my
did you
Pisces
have
energy.
anything?
We listen to music.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
you guys have a lot of commonality.
And produces music. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah,
so
I pretty much, I make sure he, you know, I'm very supportive of that, and always encourage him to do his music. And we have the same taste in music, so we'll just sit and listen to like songs that never play on the radio, of course, like random songs we just find, like go through the crates and find, and send each other music all the time. So, and he's wanted me since I was 17. He was just waiting for me to kind of grow up and realize he was the good guy, you know, because nobody's attracted to the good guy growing up. So after I went through the assholes, I was like, no, you know, he's always been there, always held me at high standards. He was just like, he was just hoping I wasn't getting married. That's all. He's like, I'm so glad you didn't get married, because he never liked the other guy. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for that.
I think we found another one that could tame a Gemini. So, ladies, they do exist if you're out there listening.
Yeah, I tamed them Geminis. I don't have all that. So the other one can rip and run if he wants to with his Uranus in the 7th. So good luck to whoever gets him next. Yeah. Whatever woman or man gets him next. No, keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Yeah. Yes.
Well, the kind of stamina that I see in his chart, shit, he might need some of everybody to help him burn some of that excess off. Because, Lord, like, I was like, oh, my gosh, he can sell penis. He could go on for hours. He can make a ton of babies. Like, oh, my gosh.
Already. Take care of them, though. Take care of them. Yeah. Take care of them, yeah. So, yeah. So I knew, in the back of my mind, I knew I never even shot for a wedding dress. We were engaged for like a year until I cut it off. And I had never really looked into the wedding stuff. I wasn't really into whole big weddings anyway, but something in me was like, no, girl, that's not going to happen. And then he just showed his true colors. Like I said, the other side came out. So, yeah. Yeah, so pray for me for the next one.
Yeah, I think this looks much better. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Work out, y'all. I'm going to call y'all, text something, IG, Facebook. You're like, it didn't work out.
Well, definitely keep us posted. I will be interested to see how this progresses, but I think you're good to go. I think the synastry looks good. April, did you see any other possible hiccups?
Well, I noticed something positive, that her Jupiter is in conjunction with his moon. So he can really, you know, even though Gemini men are not really the most openly emotional or open with expressing emotions, like how we said they like to kind of go and like run off, you know, if something's too emotional. Well, he has a Pisces moon, and then your Jupiter conjuncts his moon, so you can kind of he may be a little more comfortable with you, like with emotional stuff, and not just like,
very much so.
Not just tornado
he filled
away
his whole
quick.
love. Yeah. No, he's very open with his feelings. He tells me how he feels all the time, and when I told him I wasn't happy in the last relationship, he was like, look, this is what it is. I've loved you since you were 17. This is this. I want you. You know, I love you. This. I mean, it was a lot. So I was like, okay, all right, yeah. And then I think Neptune was transiting our Jupiter and Moon at that time when we kind of hooked up. So it was just like out of a movie or a book or like fairy tale or something. Like we said, we need to make a movie about our lives because it was just so crazy. It was just like how it happened. It was wild.
How beautiful.
Yeah,
well, I love it.
Hopefully the magic stays.
Yes, I know, because those rose-colored glasses, we know. But, we're looking at it now. Hopefully do clear eyes as well. So,
Okay.
But I know that's still hanging out somewhere around there. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
a part of this Gemini segment. We appreciate it, and thank you for lending us your chart. And
no problem. Thank you, lady.
Yeah, keep us posted. All right, thank you.
All right, y'all
So
have a
you
good
want
one.
to close out, April? You too. Good night,
Yes,
Nikki.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah, so, I mean, closing out, once again, just want to say that, of course, you know, we talk about the good, the bad, and the scandalous of Gemini men. We just extended this because, you know, as we said earlier, the dark side of Gemini men tends to be the worst, as Rubina said. They can be some clowns, but which is, you know, they could be entertaining clowns, or they could just be like plain out silly. But yeah, so you know, we extended this because of the amount of feedback we got, stories and everything. But yeah, there is some hope sometimes to Gemini men to redeem themselves, but I think it's usually after they get older and there's been major Saturn transits that they've actually learned from, that they may mature and let go of all the silly games and stuff like that. So there may be hope. But yeah, definitely watch for all those Gemini antics that a dark-sided Gemini will display, as we spoke about. What else? Hey, the Cosmic Council, our website is going to be up pretty soon. We plan to launch it next month in April, so look out for that. Don't forget to follow us in the meanwhile on Facebook, on Instagram, and we are working on a YouTube channel where you can catch all the replays as well, so we will be announcing that soon. I also have my own YouTube channel under Pisces Moon Goddess, and all of my social media is under that. And Apollonia, where can you be found?
TheAstrologyLady.com, and my YouTube is The Astrology Lady. And yeah, we will be launching a Cosmic Council YouTube very soon, so look forward to that. We'll be bringing you all sorts of great stuff there. And thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you for being here. And as always, I guess we'll end it the same.
Yeah. And I also wanted to add, we have 1 minute left, but I wanted to add that we all do offer services of readings. You can call in and get free mini readings during our shows, but for a full detailed reading, we all offer services. My website is IndigoMoonAstrology.com, and as Apollonia mentioned, hers is TheAstrologyLady.com. If you want full-on readings from us to look at relationships, career, anything, we are available. So that's pretty much it. We thank everybody for tuning in. Thank our callers for calling in. Thank everybody that emailed us, DM'd, told us their stories and everything.
Someone from Singapore hit us up in the chat. So shout out to you in Singapore.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We're going to be covering the Capricorn man. So catch us then. Peace.
Yep. Catch us then. Bye.